Hello everyone, Christina here. Thank you for coming back and joining me for my fourth reaction video. Today I'm going to be reacting to a card video from the year 2010. Seems like so long ago. And I'm just gonna watch it with you. I will pause it when I wanna make some commentaries so that you can listen to the original voiceover at the same time. So hopefully that won't be too confusing. You'll just see me pause it on screen. Okay, so we're gonna jump right into it. Here we go. Okay, first of all, March 8th, 2010. That was so long ago. Yeah, crazy.
Hi everyone, welcome to another Make a Card Monday. This week I'm going to be making a Thinking of You card. It's sort of a happy looking card, so it might be, for just about anything. I was thinking it would be a good one for just to cheer someone up. So I'm going to use this stamp set from Studio Calico. This is their...
Oh, this is a good stamp set. I loved this stamp set. And I don't think I used it very much, but I do love the font. I think there's some similar ones out there now, but they might be smaller. I loved how big these were.
Alphabet. You may have seen this in my Scrap Goodies video that I just posted yesterday.
Yeah, I did like haul videos. Those were fun though. Wide variety of products in that one.
This is some cardstock vellum from Stampin' Up. I'm using Versamark, and I'm going to be using some white embossing powder, so I'm not too concerned about if my stamp pad is clean or not. Normally I would be if I was doing clear, but I'm not. Wow, these stamps are very sticky.
It's interesting. My pacing in this is so different than what I do now.
Okay, so I had to re-stamp it because it didn't fit, and this time it fit quite a bit better. So I'm just going to emboss that now.
Oh, using that plastic container. I've been using it for a long time. I've graduated to that little triangle tray, but here I use a spoon.
Okay, so I'm just going to cut this portion out. Okay, for the rest of the card, I have some basic gray cardstock from Stampin' Up. The color is basic gray. And what I have planned is I'm going to actually cut out a portion right here and put the thinking in there. So this is just going to go right up there.
So essentially what's happening is I'm taking out the center section of the front of the card and replacing it with vellum. So I'm going to show you how I finish off the bottom edge of the card and also hide the inside, after I adhere the vellum.
And I would use vellum adhesive, except I want it to be really super strong. And I don't know how strong that adhesive is, so I'm going to use my regular tape runner adhesive. Put that in right there. And then I've got some plans for the bottom section. I'm actually going to have this be at the very bottom.
This pattern paper is so cute. I remember I used it on quite a few projects at the time. I'm going to tell you what it is here in a minute, but it's from Sassafras Lass. Such a fun company. I wish they were still around.
And I'll have a little scallop edge coming up right there. Okay, so I need the vellum, like that. Okay, so I'm going to put...
This is so slow moving. I apologize.
Just right on the edge.
I don't remember my videos being this slow. Or maybe I've just gotten used to a different pace. Seriously, I'm like not even talking through it. What am I doing?
Okay.
I guess it's fairly
now
relaxing
get
just watching it like
adhesive
this, hearing the sound, right?
all along this portion. And then I'm just going to cut off all the edges to get them even. Okay, so there's the main portion of the card. I'm going to do some faux stitching up here at the top. Okay, the inside looks like that, so not too messy. Okay, I need it to say "of you" somewhere around here. And I forgot to tell you, this pattern paper is from Sassafras Nerdy Bird collection. It's from the 6x6 pad.
I stand corrected. It was just sassafras. I always thought it was sassafras alas. I don't know why. Maybe that's something else. But there's one pattern here I love. You're going to see it. It's like this diagonal stripe, but a bunch of different colors. It's really great.
So I'm just looking for
that
something
one right there.
Use to put the "of you" on there. All right, I think what I'm going to do is I've got just some white scratch paper sitting here. I'm just going to punch out a little white star or heart. And then,
do you guys remember that heart punch? I used the crap out of that, adding little tiny hearts to so many different things. One of the first die sets that I designed for Simon Says Stamp when I started working for them in 2011, so the year after this, when I started working for them, one of the first dies I ever designed was the mini hearts die set, because I loved like punching out little mini hearts like that for my cards, and I thought it'd be so much easier if I had different types of hearts. So this punch here inspired that die set.
I'm going to write "of you" on there really, really, really tiny.
That's very tiny.
Some foam adhesive to adhere that down to the
I
card.
loved the edge of those Stamp Dimensionals because they were like cut in half and it was easy to cut them down, and you'd have little bits left over all the time. Those were great.
That right there. Okay,
The
to
little heart
finish off,
nestles in there.
I'm just going to put
It's
a flower over here on this side, and I've already thought what I'm going to do. I'm using one of these fabric flowers, and I took it out of the packaging and then just placed it on here because I knew it would still come off later, you know, because it's slick. I've got one of these flowers from Prima from their E-line. This is just the green color, and I'm just going to stick that right on top, and then I'm going to be putting a brad on top.
Does anyone get the feeling that I'm bored? I sound like I'm bored in that, like, while I'm making this card. I remember a little bit about sitting at my desk making this card, like completely in love with that pattern paper, and I loved like the really kind of offset lettering, like the kind of more playful lettering, or the alphabet stamping. I loved that. I remember thinking I really liked this card and I liked how it was going, but I don't sound real enthusiastic. This was a Make a Card Monday video, and I would bet $100 that I filmed this at like 11:30 p.m. on a Sunday night, and I still had to edit it for the next morning. Because this is when I was working full-time at Basic Gray, and I was commuting an hour and a half every day to go to work. And so it was a tough time. I'm not gonna lie. I'm glad I don't have that commute anymore.
The brad I'm using is one of these brads from my Mind's Eye Lush collection. So I
remember those too.
Which one I want to use. I'm going to put it through this flower because there's adhesive on the back of that, so I'm going to put it through this flower and then adhere it to the other.
Oh, so look how short my nails are.
I'm just going to use a mini glue dot.
Oh, mini glue dots. I don't even know if I have any around anymore.
I'll adhere that right there. I'll take that. Fortunately, I'm going to have to cover the little sun there a little bit.
That's unfortunate.
Flower there. I'm going to round the corners.
Oh, corner chomper. Oh, okay. All right. after last week's video where I really wanted a corner chomper and I didn't have one, I finally ordered one. I found one online and ordered it. They seem to be sold out in a lot of places, but I found it over at HSN, if any of you guys are looking. It came in a set with the 1/4 and 1/2 inch, which is like the one I'm using in this old video. And also it had like a, what was it? Like another little decorative corner, which I don't know that I'll use, but really I just wanted the original corner chomper. So I'm replacing it. And you know what will happen as soon as it arrives in the mail? I'll find my old one.
And call it a day. There's the card for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching.
Oh, such a cute card. And you know what really sells it? It's the pattern paper and those big stamped letters. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to think about how I want to create this card. I know I want to have some sort of vellum element that takes up a large portion of the card front. And I think I'm going to break out those alphabet stamps. Like I have 5 million that I have been saving. So I'm going to break those out and do some stamping on the vellum as well. I think that's where these two cards, the old card and my new one I'm about to make, I think that's where it will overlap the most. So let's get going. So here we are. I've got my cute little Lawn Fawn Post-it note pad on the side, and I'm going to sketch out my card idea based on that original card. The first change I'm making is I'm turning it and making it a portrait card. And then I'm going to keep the layout pretty much the same. I'm going to have a large vellum panel in the center with white embossing, and I'm going to have a little floral element down in the lower left corner. So here are the supplies I've selected. This first one is the stamp set for the large greeting. This is a stamp set from Concord and 9th. I love this font. It's very reminiscent of that Studio Calico font that I used in the original card. This is the Simple Serif Alpha from Concord and 9th. As far as pattern paper goes, I'm using the Color Steady 6x8 pad from Vicki Boutin. I love this pad. The papers were featured in a Simon Says Stamp card kit a few months back, and I ended up purchasing the entire pad because I love it so much. I've already made a card with this pattern before. There was one that was in the kit. I love it so much I'm going to use it again. And I'll be using the front and back of this pattern and the full sheet actually. For the flower element, I'm using the Modern Flowers die set from Simon, and I'm going to be doing some inlay die cutting with some interesting results. We will talk about that when I get to that point. The first thing I did, just like I did in the original card video, was stamp the vellum piece. I've taped the vellum to my work surface just so it doesn't move around while I do all this stamping, and then I prepped the area with an anti-static powder tool. I'm stamping each one of these letters in Versamark ink so that I can apply some embossing powder after I'm done. And as I stamp these words, the whole greeting is going to be happy birthday. I sort of start from the center. So it's off screen, it's on that post-it note at the top, but I did write out the words happy birthday and count the letters to find out which letter was right in the center. For the word happy, the first letter P is in the center. And then for the word birthday, it's right in between the T and the H, I believe, or maybe the H is the center. So as I stamp this greeting, I sort of started from the center and moved out. And that helped me get some good spacing on all of these letters so that they weren't too spaced out or too squished in some areas. Now this vellum piece was actually 4.5 and 4.5, and I need to cut it down to 4.25, so I wanted to make sure I had some space on the edges. I applied some alabaster embossing powder from Burtis Monroe and heat set that with a heat tool and then trimmed it down with my paper trimmer. So I trimmed it down so there was just a little bit of space above and below so that I could adhere it to the card. And we're going to move on. We're going to kind of place this on a folded card front and see where we're going to be adhering it. So I've placed it just on top. I'm going to grab a pencil, slide that vellum piece over and make a little tick mark. Then I'm going to take it to my paper trimmer and cut off most of the front of my card base. So I've chopped that off and I'm going to save that white piece for later. Now I'm going to adhere the vellum piece, and I'm going to use my tape runner adhesive. This is just some extreme adhesive from Tombow, and I'm going to adhere the vellum right on the front. So it's funny, in the original video I used a Tombow tape runner, and this time I'm using a Tombow tape runner too, just an updated version. So I placed that down and then folded over that top corner or the top edge, and now I have my vellum adhered to the top of the card. I'm going to adhere pattern paper on the inside of the card. This is a little different from the original card. The original card was just plain inside, but this pattern was so beautiful and I love it. So I decided to put it in the center or have it cover the entire inside of the card, and then you can kind of get a peek of it through the vellum. I adhered it to the inside of the card and then used a ruler and a craft knife to cut off the excess on the sides. And I'll reuse those pieces that I've cut off when I add additional pieces or embellishments to the front of the card. So here we go. Here's where the card stands currently. And we're going to do a bunch of die cutting after this. This is the bottom of that pattern paper. Above it was that ray pattern that's on the inside of the card now. And then here are those extra pieces. I'm just kind of placing this in here to get an idea of how I want this to go. I'm using the Stitched Borders 1 die set from Pretty Pink Posh, and I'm using the zigzag die to give a nice fun edge. I thought about doing a scallop edge like I have on the original card, but the patterns on the pattern paper were a little bit more edgy and fun. They almost make me think of like 80s decor, kind of like that really edgy poppy feel. And so I thought having a zigzag edge would work great. So I ran that through my die cutting machine, and I also die cut the flowers from the Modern Flowers die set. Now here's where we're getting to the die cut or inlay dies, which basically means you just cut the die out of different colors of paper and then adhere the different colors inside the die cut. And I cut out a lot of the footage here because this is where I spent the bulk of my time when I made this card, and it was quite difficult. Jennifer McGuire does this technique quite a bit. In fact, she showed it in our Crushing on Cardstock class this last week, and that's what inspired me to do this. I was like, I want to try that. Oh, honey, maybe this is not for me. It was so time consuming. So I do like how it turned out, but I think I need more practice doing this and maybe watch a few more of Jennifer's videos to get some tips, because it was quite difficult to get that flower piece together. The leaves were a little more difficult than the flower. And then I had to fussy cut out the leaves, and that was a challenge in and of itself. So I think if I were to do this again, I would do a little more research and get some more tips from Jennifer before I go into this. And those of you who've tried the inlay die cut technique, tell me down in the comments. Did you find it as difficult? Wow, it was. Anyway, I don't mean to discourage you from trying it. I think it's a really cool technique. It was just, I was not expecting it to be quite that difficult. Jennifer makes it look very easy. So after I had those pieces all put together, I then adhered my pattern paper piece with that little zigzag edge right on top. So I put the adhesive on the front of the card, on the front of the vellum, and then placed the pattern paper right on top. And just like I did before, I'm going to open it up and get out my ruler and lop off the extra that's on the side. So one of the ways that I thought of after the fact that I could have made this a little bit easier on myself is if I had just put the inlay die cuts together directly on the card. That would have helped a lot. Anyway, to hide the inside of the vellum adhesion area, I put some more adhesive on the inside of that bottom area on the front, and then I used that piece of white cardstock that was originally the front of the card. So I just placed that on. Should be the perfect size to place right on there, but I am going to use my ruler and craft knife to lop off the extra that goes past the bottom edge of the card. So the basic card is put together now. I'm going to put the flower embellishments on the front. Actually, one more step here. I decided to cut a little tiny strip of white cardstock and hide where the vellum was adhered to the top of the card base. I don't know that I had to do this part. I think it wasn't too bad looking on the inside, considering it was vellum onto white, but I did that anyway. So now we're going to put the floral elements on top. So I used some honeybee adhesive precision glue, which is what I used to put these all together. And I put that on the back of the leaves and then used an acrylic block to hold that down while I prepped the other images that I'm adhering on top. So I used the big leaf stem and then a smaller little set of leaves and just glued those directly down onto the card front. And then for the flower, I decided to pop it up a little bit. Since there isn't dimension on this card yet, this will give it a little bit of dimension like the original card. I put some foam adhesive down on the flower, removed the backing on the foam adhesive, and then placed that directly down onto the card front. So that pretty much finishes the card. I think if I had my corner chomper, which has not shipped yet, I think I probably would have rounded those bottom corners just like the original card. But I didn't have my corner chomper, so here we are. Here's the comparison to the original card. I hope you guys like the new version. I think they look very similar, just updated products, still very colorful. I like how that turned out. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in another video very soon.